Hey, have you guys seen those new trailers for Pokemon Legends Arceus? They were amazing! Especially the reveal— Oh! Oh, okay. Thanks, I guess. I suppose new is a bit of a stretch there. More like months old, but like quality takes time. Ah! Oof, my guy, that really hurt. But speaking of time, the heck is up with the Arceus phone? Say goodbye to immersion because this thing is making it leave. Like, this is the past, right? Pokemon Legends Arceus seems to take place vaguely around the Meiji Restoration, so around the turn of the 19th to 20th century, meaning technology barely exists. You know what was at the forefront of technology at the time? Morse code sendy thingies. Toodle spin goers. Pyrophobia. Cat videos. Sin. Bombs. A mistake. Meth. And the beginning of democracy's decline. And you expect me to accept that there's a smartphone? And who even designs a phone case like this? Probably the same guy who invented this mouse remover. This is a real patent. So clearly, this smartphone makes no sense, and thus a number of people in the Pokemon community got the idea that time travel happens in this game. After all, Dialga. Like, Dialga? So let's explore the concept of time travel in the context of the main series of Pokemon games to find out where this idea of time travel in Pokemon Legends Arceus comes from. Locked in here from the future. Hair sticking up as long as mine did back then is illegal now. But hey, here's an important message from a sponsor from the future. If you've got an ARC phone, or a smartphone in general really, then you should pick up some earbuds so that you aren't that guy out in public blaring 10-second TikToks that everyone around you has to be a partial observer to now. And Raycon's everyday earbuds are great for that. Bluetooth earbuds that charge in their own little case and connect to phones with ease. And thanks to their lengthy battery life, you can listen to 2,000 TikToks or YouTube shorts, and that's assuming most are full length. Yeah, 32-hour battery life. And they are comfortable, but still hold on well enough so that they don't fall out. And since Raycons start at half the price of other premium audio brands, and they include a 45-day happiness guarantee, they'd make an excellent holiday gift for that one friend or family member that has to partially share everything they watch with everyone in the house because they just blare it. And you don't care what these Gen Alpha kids are doing because you've got like taxes or coffee environmentalism to do or something. I don't know, adult things. So go right on down and click the link in the description box or go to buyraycon.com/Logston and use the coupon code HOLIDAY for 15% off. I gotta go back in time now. Toodles. Beep beep boop bop. Now, let's take a look at the Zoroark trailer itself. Specifically, the second trailer, since the first one is so choppy and full of static. The second trailer opens with the would-be cameraman apparently trying to get a handle on this device. A device which he later describes as being strange. After taking in the breathtaking beauty of his surroundings, he films some local Snorunt before deciding to head into the nearby wooded area. Once there, he spots a Pokemon that he almost mistakes for a Vulpix or Growlithe. This was later revealed as Hisuian Zorua. After awing at the adorableness of this regional variant, the man is then attacked by a giant shadow that leaps at him. The giant shadow is then revealed to be Hisuian Zoroark. So after all of that, how are people getting the idea of time travel? Well, I think it has something to do with the man's strange device. Some very observant fans have noticed that the man's device seems to be a bit too modern for the time period Legends Arceus is inspired from. Auto-focusing and some zoom and enhance. It even makes the zooming camera sound too? I mean, for context, this is the time period that the very first portable camera, as in portable at all whatsoever, was invented. Let alone 1080p color video. So in all likelihood, The strange device he's using is that Arc phone. Perhaps the man himself is a time traveler? After all, he describes what time it is in the modern way. But our modern way of saying what time it is was invented in the British Empire in the 16th century and wouldn't reach Japan until much, much later, so he could just be from Galar, like plenty of the other characters we seem to see. So he's not necessarily a time travel. Plus, why would the device be strange if he's used to tech like that? The evidence seems to be pretty thin here. Perhaps we can get a clearer picture by looking at how time travel is generally depicted in media. The concept of time travel is nothing new. The earliest known example of it comes from the, forgive my pronunciation, the Mahabharata, a Sanskrit epic poem written around 400 BC, though it's traveling millions of years forward. One of the first examples of time travel backwards is Memoirs of the 20th Century, written in 1733, which is about a man receiving letters from the 20th century. But of course, the books that popularized the concept in science fiction are The Clock That Went Backward from 1881, and of course, H.G. Wells' The Time Machine from 1895. And hey, both of those were written in the same time period as Legends Arceus. Coincidence?
I think not!
One of the most recognizable elements of time travel stories is what is known as temporal mutability, or the sliding scale of how easy it is for time to be changed by time travelers. On one end of the scale, time is completely unchangeable. Nothing a time traveler does will change the events in the timeline, either because there's some entity trying to correct any changes, or history itself has already accounted for the time traveler's actions. A good example of this are the Time Turners from the Harry Potter universe. Harry and Hermione, Hermione, I've never seen them. But apparently they use the Time Turner devices to go back in time to change certain events, only to find out later that they never really changed anything. Harry getting mysteriously beamed in the head by a rock earlier? That was Hermione, who threw a rock from the future. A random werewolf cry in the distance that saved the gang from a werewolf? That also turned out to be Hermione from the future that made that cry. The glowing stag that saved Harry from the Dementors? Harry thought that might have been his dad who saved him, but it was actually Harry from the future that casted the Patronus spell. I have no idea what I'm talking about. On the other end of the scale, though, time is fragile. Even the slightest thing can lead to drastic changes down the line. The butterfly effect. My favorite example of this is the movie The Sound of Thunder. There's time travel tourism to the age of dinosaurs. But don't you dare step off the floating path, you are only observers! Guess what happens? A dude steps off the path and squishes a butterfly. Millions of years later, humans are fish people now. Another classic example of this would come from DC Comics. The Flash is no stranger to time travel stuff in his comics, but one of his most iconic storylines is called Flashpoint. The Flash goes back in time to stop his mother from getting killed. This is the only thing he does. He saves his mother. And yet, this causes such a catastrophic cascade of changes across the timeline. Bruce Wayne dies in Crime Alley while his dad becomes Batman, and his mom becomes the Joker. Superman is found by the US government instead of Ma and Pa Kent as a baby. Aquaman and Wonder Woman are at literal war with each other. It's honestly kind of nuts how everyone else's lives get changed so much just from one dude trying to prevent his mom from dying. And then you do have stories that try to play in the middle of that scale, where time is kind of fluid, and some things can be changed, usually minor things, but bigger, more drastic acts are fixed points in time. So hey, if we can time travel, why don't we go back and kill baby Hitler?
Won't work. Holocaust still happens. It's a fixed point in time. Besides, I really gotta smack this guy.
Oh, okay. Sounds like lazy writing to me. Why is my cheek sore all of a sudden? So that covers the basics of how time travel is depicted in media in general, but what about the Pokemon franchise? The anime examples are easy to think of. It's the plot of 2 movies after all. One where Celebi sends a young Professor Oak into Ash's time, and another where Dialga sends Ash and friends to the distant past. But since Legends Arceus is a game, are there examples of time travel in the Pokemon games? Well, yes, actually. Celebi and Dialga's Pokédex entries don't specifically mention time travel at all, but there is a somewhat obscure event where Celebi does indeed time travel, and that event is the Celebi event from Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver. This was a mystery gift event where you would take the gifted Celebi with you as your walking Pokemon to the Elex Forest Shrine. Then, Celebi takes you back in time to the climax of Team Rocket's takeover of the Goldenrod radio tower, where they called out for Giovanni. Now, during the main story, Giovanni never responds to his team, much to their confusion. However, in the Celebi event, we get context. Celebi transports you to a secret cave behind Tojo Falls, and there you find Giovanni. He's listening to a radio, and it's playing the signal Team Rocket is sending out, calling for him to come back. Giovanni plans to answer the call, and starts to leave the cave when he sees you, blocking his way. He battles you, of course, and you beat him, of course, leaving him even more despondent than he was 3 years prior after being defeated by Red, and the event ends with the reveal that Giovanni was Silver's father. This was a really cool event, and it seems to imply that the Pokemon games are on the more static end of the temporal mutability scale. The player character didn't change history by stopping Giovanni, as that's what apparently always is what happened. It just took place off-screen from our initial perspective during the main story. So with all of that, let's go back to our original question from back in the beginning. Is there time travel in Legends Arceus? Well, unfortunately, the answer is inconclusive. I mean, clearly there's no evidence found in the trailer to confirm or deny any instance of time travel, so until we get more information about the game, or until the game itself just comes out, we'll just have to settle for the knowledge that there is at least precedent for time travel in the games. Though considering just about every named character is obviously an ancestor to a modern-day character in Diamond and Pearl, maybe one of them, say Professor Rowan from the future, got involved in sending you the Arc phone after the events of Diamond. So the player has Dialga, and uses Dialga to send the Arc phone back to change bad things. It's possible. What do you all think? Is there proof of time travel in Legends Arceus? Definitely be sure to leave a comment in the future about what your favorite part of Legends Arceus is when the game comes out. You'll be like a time traveler yourself. And remember to never stop.
No cheesy catchphrase today.